Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. Meet Taylor and Abby Scarpello, the founders of the Soul Sisters Community, a sanctuary where women unite to embrace their divine essence and flourish in a space grounded with authenticity and empowerment. In 2022, after facing the profound loss of a loved one, Taylor and Abby found themselves adrift, searching for a sense of belonging and direction in their healing journey. Confronted with the absence of a supportive community for young women grappling with similar experiences, they identified a crucial void in the healing landscape. Driven by a shared vision, the Scarpello sisters are dedicated to fostering an environment where women can connect, heal, and grow together. Their mission is to build a community where members can openly share their experiences, embrace their true selves, and support one another in their individual and collective journeys towards healing and self-discovery. That is so beautiful. You do amazing. You're doing such at a young age oh my gosh, I just wish I had your wisdom
Oh,
back then in my
thank
20s.
you. Thank
When I
you.
was
Thank
in my
you.
20s, I seriously was doing the opposite. I was partying, I was drinking, I was just like reckless behavior. So it really wasn't until like in my late 30s, and then I mean I'm 42 now, but it wasn't until then I'm like, oh wow, I really need to experience what I need to experience in order for me to get here now. So I am grateful for what I have experienced. But for you, I was like, you remind me of my nieces, and I'm just so happy to have you on my show today. So thank you so much, ladies.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. It means the world to us to be able to connect with others and just like-minded individuals that share similar, whether it be experiences or just similar values, because all of us go through different experiences or we go through different healing and we feel that we're so alone. And both Abby and I are so passionate about helping others and creating community that we can empower each other in order to get to that next level or just feel good and just love ourselves at the end of the day.
Yes, and how awesome is it to do it with your sister?
It is pretty
Right?
great.
Not everyone can say like, okay, so I feel like my family is like my soul family, and not everyone can have like that sibling that you both kind of like help each other grow in life. And so that's amazing, you know. Oh, I miss my sister. She's 10 years
Oh,
older than me
no.
though. But yeah, so can you just share the story behind the inception of Empowered Soul and the personal journey that led you to where you both actually created this beautiful community?
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago that our grandma passed away, and she was huge part of our lives. She lived in the same house as us. So we grew up with her pretty much like our second mother. And when we lost her, it just rocked our foundation. We didn't really know where to turn to, what to do in terms of the grieving process. So that's when we really dove deeper into our spiritual practice, and we found sound healing, all these other practices that helped us really just like from the core, I'd say, just really helped us. And because those has helped us so much, we just want to share with others and form that community that we didn't have.
Right. And community is so important because so often I felt alone when I was in my recovery journey and I didn't have a community, at least the communities that I had, we were still suffering, you know, like like my background, like I was a heavy drinker in my past, and I was just sharing with you that my grief was actually
Mhm.
like grieve my old self because
Yeah.
that's all I knew. That was like that comfort. And I didn't have a support system at all. It was just me and myself and I. It wasn't until I got a mentor who then helped me with my mindset and then taught me, and she actually had her own community. So then I started meeting like
Oh,
like-minded women,
yeah.
doing church activities, which I never did before in my life, and was just trying to explore like different things that I can do to help and serve others. So I mean, like I said, wisdom that you have, I wish I had when I was in my 20s.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I really love that you're into the whole holistic approach of how to heal pretty much. And can you share your perspective on how grief impacts our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being and the holistic approach to addressing these interconnected areas?
Oh, we could honestly, I think that's a whole podcast in
Yeah.
itself
Yeah.
between both my own journey and Abby's journey. But I guess to sum it all up, it has impacted us greatly, whether it be physically.
spiritual, honestly, on every level. But for myself, so I'm not going to speak for Abby because she experienced a different challenge journey. But at the time of our grandma's passing, I was in a completely different place career wise. I had started my own skincare company, so I was heavily invested in that and had the first quarter going into, I would say, second quarter of the year all planned out. So when our foundation got rocked, I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time to deal with grief. I have all these new pop-ups, all these new opportunities coming. I need to be invested in my business 110%. I was at the time training a new intern to help out, which hopefully was going to be able to bring her on full time. So I just had to really invest my attention into the business to see where we could go and how we can scale it. And I ended up disassociating my emotions, really just from myself, so that I could focus on the business. And to me, it was, I would say that, oh, it's just easier for me just to focus on the business instead of dealing with the grief or allowing myself to cry, where I started to miss out on family opportunities, as well as opportunities to hang out with friends. And because I had been doing so, it affected my physical health, where it really shifted my hormones. So a lot of times when we do, let's say, either disassociate or we are experiencing different types of external stress, we not only feel it externally, but our bodies are feeling it internally. And we may not recognize that until we start to do the inner and deeper work and really start to peel back those layers where of the onion. If you are looking at yourself as an onion or even just a ball of yarn, where you start to unravel those layers of where maybe it's not just grief, but maybe there's something underlying it, whether it be grief of the loss of a loved one, or maybe it's when I was in high school, I didn't love myself. Or when I was a child, I had some sort of trauma that happened. And that's what happened to me over the last 2 years. I started to heal my hormones. And from that, again, I thought I was dealing with grief. However, I was trying to find the balance between work, life, and play. And because I still wasn't dealing with those emotions, my body ended up creating injury, and I ended up spraining both of my knees. And because of that, I was completely out of commission, where I really had to focus on my internal world. And that's when all of those layers started to rise to the surface, not only the grief, but other parts of me that weren't necessarily healed or were overlooked. And I started to sit with myself, heal not only the grief, but the self-love and versions of myself from the past. And I was doing a lot of inner child work. And when you're going through it, it can seem very challenging because no one wants to sit with themselves alone or allow themselves to cry and express emotions. But once you're through the thick of it and you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and again, this doesn't have to be done alone. It's okay to work with someone, work with a coach, a mentor, another healer. Abby was a huge part of my journey with self-love and grief, and it brought us tremendously closer, which then impacted the business incredibly. But when you're able to start to look at those parts of you and get through the end of the when you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, you just have this deeper connection with yourself as well as those around you, the world, and everything just starts to become clear and really just beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to say that a lot of people actually are afraid to cry because we were so conditioned in our upbringing that, like, if we cried, we were looked down upon, like we're
Yeah.
weak. and I'm noticing now, like, I love a good cry. Like, I feel
Oh
like it's
yeah.
so therapeutic and so necessary. And my condolences for the loss of your grandma. Like, I
Thank
see
Thank
my
you.
you.
son, I see my son so close to my mom. Like, I didn't have all my grandparents had passed away before
Mm.
I was aware of like they existed because I was a baby. But my son and her are so close, and like I'm just like I can't imagine if my I mean even for me as the daughter, being her daughter, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
But thinking about him because he's so close to my mom, like they do everything together. It's so cute.
Oh.
So I was just thinking about, oh, how am I going to be there for him when that happens? Because she's like in her
Yeah.
70s, and I feel like she's gonna live a long time, like into her like late 90s. I don't know. I just have a feeling.
Yeah.
She
But
will.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I think about these things, and so yeah, and then the crying is so therapeutic, and you were mentioning different types of like modalities to help heal us through the grieving process. You were mentioning about was it somatic inner child therapy? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So Abby, she is working through a somatic healing course. And she's actually helped me tremendously over the last few months with working through just connecting back to my inner child, my inner, I would even say like teenager too, just to heal those different parts. But we've been doing some practices.
Yeah, it's on some all of somatic work is really just connecting your mind back to your body, just to really feel whole again. So there's so many different practices. One is honestly just dancing, and some people may find it silly if they look at themselves in the mirror. However, just dancing, if you put a song on and just free, kind of, I guess you could say freestyling, but really just feeling what your body needs, it's a huge release because you go throughout day to day with holding so much tension, holding on to certain things that you may not even realize. So when you're able to move and work these things out through movement, it's you just feel so much better, and it puts you in a good mood. You may cry, that's okay, because that's another release, and you will feel just so much better. Mhm.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, yeah, there's another aspect of crying too, and you feel so good that you're so
Mhm.
happy, and so you
Mhm.
feel with so much gratitude that you just start crying too.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true. Or you connect so deeply with whether it be the music or even just with yourself, and you feel that deep sense of gratitude, that comfort, and that love. And you may have just had a memory pop up where, yeah, it was sad. However, once you start to connect with that deeper level of yourself, you just cry of just tears of joy. It's
Tears of
beautiful.
joy. Yeah, I love those tears. Those are the best tears.
They are.
They are.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you brought up dance as therapy because I was recently talking to an embodiment coach who that's what she does. Is does this like 5 rhythm dance, and she teaches and conducts these classes where either on Zoom or, at her studio, and then they would just dance. Like, and I asked her, well, what is your favorite type of music do you dance to? And she's like, everything. Is that true? Do you
Yeah.
have like a favorite type, or do you prefer to do like depending on how you feel for the day?
I don't really have a favorite type of music, and I feel like I've always been like that. Whenever someone asks me what's your favorite type of music, I don't really have an answer. But even just to dance to, it's just if it has a good beat and I can really feel it, that just makes a difference. It makes me happy.
Yes, and it's good exercise.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
Makes you
It's like
sweat.
exactly. It's like exercising without even realizing it.
Mhm.
It's just like a feel good, connect to your body, connect to the music, and just allow your music to really feed your soul.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we are all energy, and that frequency picks up. And my body will automatically be like, oh yeah, I love this song.
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
something like that. Yes. And so it's Taylor who does the sound bath?
Both of us.
Oh,
We're
both
both
of you. Oh,
sound healers.
nice. Okay,
Yeah.
both are sound healers. Okay, I want to talk about that because I had an experience last, I want to say October. It was a
Okay.
female entrepreneur workshop slash convention thing.
Very cool.
And they always bring in like other women who do the experience aspect of the the program, which one was like a meditative sound bath. Now, mind you, I've done lots of meditation. I've done lots of breath work, love everything, but I've never had a sound bath and just really, because I'm very high, I have a very high frequency. And so
Yeah.
my radar can sense anything. It's like, and so I really felt that sound bath. Like I felt like I was there in the ocean. It's like on the sand, just there. It's absolutely amazing. And they're also actually becoming very popular in holistic healing
Yep.
circles. Now, how do they specifically aid individuals who are navigating through grief, would you say?
So with sound healing, it is a type of meditation. However, it's extremely gentle yet powerful. And I mean that by you're able to just relax and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So you're able to activate the body and allow yourself to come into that rest and digest state. So, as well as enter different elevated states of consciousness and enter a theta brainwave state, which is that same state that you dip into right before you fall asleep, as well as right upon waking, because it's very blissful. And when you are in that state, it's as if you're giving your body a good 2 to 3 hour nap. So, when you are navigating through any type of healing journey, whether it be through grief or even any type of illness, the body isn't able to repair itself because the nervous system is so ramped up. Your nervous system may be dysregulated. However, when you do come into that rest and digest and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body is able to start to repair itself and start to heal, whether again be through grief or another type of healing that you are looking to overcome and work through.
Yeah, and then I'll also add, so sound healing helped me the most going through the grieving process. So if you're one like me, where I may not necessarily be so open to talk about these difficult emotions or these experiences, sound healing has helped me to pretty much deal with these certain things um, without even talking and in a very gentle way, where certain emotions would come up and I would just let them just kind of go by as if I'm just watching the clouds in the sky, and certain things would be released super gently. And little by little, I was able to go throughout my journey just easier, I would say.
Yes, I just know that I had a wonderful experience. Like I had like tingly feelings inside
Yeah.
and just I felt like it was a big hug. It was like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice hug that I had experienced during that time. But so thank you for sharing that with me. Now, how can individuals actually integrate like sound baths into their regular self-care or self-care routine, so they wanted to go ahead and experience it?
So we have clients that come weekly, bi-weekly, or even once a month. It really depends upon what you are looking to incorporate and how dedicated you are towards your healing journey. But there are some clients that will come in, for example, once and they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm good to go. I got what I needed out of it." Or again, we do have clients that do come weekly that are looking to have a little bit more of a profound healing, but no matter what healing you are looking for, the body will receive what it needs to at that time.
Absolutely. Now, do you have any success stories or a testimonial about what they've experienced with it?
Yes, I would say many,
All
but
right, all of the above.
we had one that does come to mind is that we did have a mother. She came and she had been, I would say she was raising her daughter was about six, 7 or 8. So she was a little one, very on the go, where the mom didn't necessarily have a lot of time for herself. And she was open to sound healing. This was her first sound bath. She came and loved the ocean. They also have a beach house. However, prior to having children, she would be able to just really experience the ocean and just allow the salt air just to ground her. And after having children, she wasn't able to get the same experience when being on the beach because she had to be just a little bit more on guard, on alert, just to make sure her little one was okay. However, in our sound bath, we do play the ocean drum, so it sounds just like the waves. And throughout that experience, she was able to connect with her old self and just allow those memories and experiences to come through. And then after the sound bath, she was just filled with so much gratitude and said that that was the first time that she ever was able to connect with her old self. However, going forward, was able to sleep the best, had the best night's sleep, and started to just bring in that new love for herself and start to dedicate time to connect with her old self as well.
That's so beautiful. I understand about the young ones because I'm
Yeah.
a mother as well, and I do have little ones. I have teenager boy and two little
Oh,
ones who are 8 and 9.
beautiful.
It is fun. It's funny because like my husband wants a beach house eventually. I'm like, okay, we're not there yet. But I can imagine like what she's going through, because you have to watch the children. They can't like
Exactly.
let the
Yeah,
ocean take them away. You have to like
exactly.
It's true.
focus on them. So that's nice to hear that this was like her escape, but yet she felt like she was
Yeah.
at the beach and then she connected to herself again. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about the community because I know we were mentioning how community is so important. Like I feel like I didn't have any community
Yeah.
before. And I wanted to ask you, what were some of the initial challenges that you actually both faced when looking for a community after you experienced your loss of your grandma? And how did that shape the vision for Empowered Soul?
I would say one of the main things, and I would say it goes with a lot of people who experience grief, where even some of your closest friends, when they approach you, they don't really know how to be around you because you just experienced this loss. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know if they should mention it or if they should open the conversation. So those interactions were maybe a little awkward, and they were also I felt more disconnected to my friends. So I was just searching for people who understood what I was going through and who were open to talking about the loss that we experienced. Not-
Yeah, and going through the grief healing journey, both Abby and I had each other, thankfully, as well as our mom and our dad. Or, however, we didn't have women or even just individuals our age that shared similar experiences. Where, like Abby was saying, just going out with friends was a little awkward. Or when you made plans, yeah, in that moment they felt great, but leading up to it something just fell off. And if you did cancel, you would get those, oh, why isn't Taylor coming? Or why isn't Abby coming? And it would kind of cause this little bit of friction. So we were searching for that community that understood. And with us experiencing the same feelings and emotions, we knew that there were so many others out there experiencing the exact same feelings where, yeah, it's a Friday night and I really don't want to go out to bars or I don't want to party. I really just want to do my self-care. I want to be a little bit in meditation or have a quiet night in. So that's what we started to realize, that there's nothing like that. And we turned to each other and we're like, you know what? I think we should just create it. So little by little, we started to just, I guess the wheels just started to turn, and we had no idea what Empowered Soul would really become. And we just started to throw ideas around and just really just going by how we felt and what we wanted. And we're like, you know what? We're gonna build it. And the people that align and resonate with it's just going to trickle outward.
Wow. I'm just thinking about like, wow, you two are doing amazing things at such a
oh,
Thank
like it's
thank
such a
you.
you.
delicate age too,
Thank
because
you.
a lot of people, when I was in my 20s, people that had experienced a loss of a loved one, they went straight to drinking, straight
Yeah.
to narcotics to numb themselves,
Mhm.
which then eventually led down to a path that was destructive and reckless.
Absolutely.
So I'm so excited that you two are creating a community where it's like, hey, you don't have to go this path here. There's other ways to heal
Mhm.
and to get and to feel much better about the
Exactly.
situation of losing your loved
Exactly.
one, and then have that community where you can have open conversation, open communication, share stories and share. I mean, I understand what it's like then to have a conversation. Like for me, when one of my friends had lost a loved one, back then, I would kind of like ignore them, and how
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. Like because I didn't know what to say. Like
Exactly.
what do I tell them? I mean, because I never experienced losing a family member like how they experienced. And
Yeah.
so what do I do? And then they feel like, okay, they don't like me anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then it just creates a whole nother
Yeah,
relationship
exactly.
mess.
It's true. And we've experienced that on both sides. So we knew that there were so many people out there just wanting and seeking that help. They just didn't necessarily have the right tools in front of them. And we grew up just very open to spirituality. Our dad's a chiropractor. So just being in that or being raised in that holistic environment, we always had access to these tools. So again, we just knew that we needed to share them with others, and just being able to express your emotions and in that safe community. And we do have a very intimate setting because we want people to be vulnerable, or maybe the first time they don't feel comfortable being vulnerable, but then as they start to gain that trust and feel that safe haven of the environment that we create, we know, and as well as they know, that it's okay to show up and to just be your authentic self.
Yes, I love that. And that ties to my next question, that how do you define the concept of divine essence and authentic truth? And why do you think these are vital for healing and empowerment?
I love that question. And I think that brings us to a huge aspect of our business, which are our ethos, which are feel, embody, and free. And this is something Abby and I came up with, I would say back in months ago, probably August of 2023.
Yeah, we started doing this once a week. We would sit down on a Monday, and before we did any other business things, we would go through this and we would ask each other, "How do you feel this week?" And feel one, it's important to recognize how we feel, whether it's good or whether it's not great this week. It's very important to acknowledge that. And then two, embody. What is it that you want to embody this week? What do you want to have a little bit more of? What do you want to bring in this week to help you feel better or to continue to feel better? And then free, what is it that you can release this week that you can just get out and just free yourself from? And then we also added a little intention for the week. So what can you do this week to help you embody what you want to embody? So we just started going through this, and one, to help ourselves recognize how we're feeling and what we want to release, but also to help each other, to hold each other accountable and to pick up where each other may be lacking that week. And then we also brought this in with Empowered Soul to again form that community, to encourage people that you're not alone on this journey, and just to really hold each other accountable too, and say, hey, if you're going through this, let me help you, or just let me just encourage you.
Keep going. So before we start any of our classes, we do the feel and body free, just so that again, others know that healing should never be done alone, and that it also shows that, hey, you're also not alone going through this challenging time. Or if you are feeling great, how can we continue to support you throughout that week so that you keep feeling great?
That's so beautiful. I even say that in my podcast. So like the end, you are not alone on this journey. I'm here every step of the way.
Exactly. And it makes a
It's true.
huge difference, whether it be an in-person community or connecting with others virtually. It just reassures that, hey, yeah, I really am not alone on this journey or going through this time.
Totally. Yeah. So how do you see Empowered Soul evolving in the future? And what are your aspirations for the community you are actually building right now?
So we have a few different ways that we do want to expand. Again, we're just so passionate about helping others really just become that best version of themselves. One of the things that we would love to do is be able to just travel across country and just bring people together and have these like wellness festivals, whether it be just one day or over the course of a weekend, and just go on a whole wellness tour throughout the country. That's something that we've been talking about manifesting for sure. But just again, just community is huge for us, and we want people to feel good and just live in the moment, because life is, it's so short, and it may not seem that way. And a lot of us we're so focused on the future, we're caught up in the past, but past has happened, can't really do anything about that. Future hasn't even happened yet, hasn't been created. However, right now in this very moment, all we have is right now. So what can we do to just allow ourselves to be present and just feel that love and gratitude? And if we could come together and do that, it just makes everything more powerful and just so much more beautiful, and just elevates everyone's emotions, and that just begins to ripple outward as well. And it really starts to not only shift you as an individual, but as the world itself as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mic drop, huh? I was just like everything, because like I'm very intuitive, and so everything that you're saying is just I get like information, and then my vision as I see is like, wow, these sisters are going places. And they're going
Thank
the
you.
world.
Thank you.
For sure. I was like, I
Thank
keep on
you.
getting, I was like, wow, I'm getting like, like the hair's kind of standing up. Like I'm very aware of my own body too. And so I feel, I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, whatever you do, like virtual huggies to both of you.
Yes.
And right back at you.
Oh, thank you. Because everything you say totally resonates to everything that I believe in. And I'm just like, oh, wow. Like the festivals I was thinking. So I used to go back into like rave festivals back in the day. And I love how you just change it into like a wellness festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need the drugs. Like literally, you can create the psychedelics in your mind if you really wanted to.
Exactly.
True.
It's
When
available.
you meditate and go into these different elevated states of consciousness,
Yes.
your brain is releasing DMT. So you really don't need the external things for validation.
That's what I've been saying. You listen to different frequencies too, and that can change your
Exactly.
physiology as
Or
well.
dance.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
Dance. So yeah, I'm seeing your vision like in the
Aw,
future, like
thank
already.
you.
Yeah, that's so
Well,
awesome.
you are invited.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
You definitely have
I'm
to
gonna
go.
go because I love dancing. Like my whole family loves dancing. My mom especially. That's how she met her husband. She went out with my stepdad because my dad passed away when I was a baby too. Like I very
Oh,
funny. So
sorry.
everyone died when I was a
Sorry.
baby. And so, but my stepdad and her, so her therapy was like dance. And so she wasn't trying to go out there and like meet men or whatever, but men would be drawn to her because she was a very attractive, she still is a very attractive woman. And so she would go out with her girlfriends, and then she met this guy, and then she's like, he wanted to dance, but they dance so good. They have that synergy like that because they both like dance salsa music. He's Puerto Rican, she's Mexican, and they're just dancing so beautifully. And to this day, they've already celebrated the 25th silver anniversary recently
Oh my
in
gosh,
January. To
congratulations.
this day, they still will like play music and dance in the living room together. Like
I love that. I
if,
love that.
if one thing that keeps them together and love each other so much is definitely dance, because that's what brought them together.
I love that. It just warms my heart.
Yeah,
Guys, I love
yeah.
that.
So
I,
sweet.
I know. I look at them like, man, I wish my husband could dance like you, Papa.
Yeah.
I tell him.
I always say that because I also ballroom dance.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I love all the Latin dances. But I always said to Taylor, I'm like, whoever I marry needs to know how to dance, and he needs to just twirl me around the kitchen because that's like one of my love languages.
Right, it is. Yeah, like the whole twirling and bringing them to the floor. Maybe
Yeah.
even like the movie Dirty Dancing, where she
Yeah.
runs and
Oh,
he
yes.
catches her. Patrick Swayze catches
Yeah.
her, and she's like flying, all like beautifully
Yeah.
choreographed.
I
Wow.
love it.
Oh yeah. So I was going to ask you, what advice would you actually give someone who is currently struggling with the loss and seeking a path towards healing and self-discovery?
I would say take all the time that you need in order to heal. And when you do go through these experiences or these challenges, it does shift your life. However, you can always find the blessing
Yeah.
through the challenge, where you can turn this heavier time into something of purpose and power.
Yeah, and then also as hard as it is, try not to push those emotions down and down. If you feel you need to cry, and even if you're out at a restaurant, let yourself cry because that's what you need to do in that moment. And then yes, life will you will see the beauty in life again. It just does take time, so take as much time as you need.
It's beautifully said. Now, how can our listeners get involved with Empowered Soul, and what and Empowered Soul for the audience is all capital letters EMPWRD and the second word SOL. Just for the
Yeah.
listeners to go ahead and have that in mind. And I love that
Thank
soul, like,
you.
because I always talk about soul.
Yeah.
And what steps can they go ahead and take to join your community and start their own journey of empowerment and healing?
So we are on Instagram as well as TikTok, and our handle is EMPWRD SOL. And then our website is www.empoweredsoul.com. And then we do all of our in-person classes. We're located in Secaucus, New Jersey, which is just outside of Manhattan in the metropolitan area. So we do host weekly classes as well as working with clients one-on-one virtually and in person.
Wow, that's amazing. And I will have all that in the show notes as well. But any last words or thoughts you'd like to share?
I would say just allow yourself to be open to all the new possibilities and experiences. And if energy healing starts to pique your interest, allow yourself to try something new. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, because you may just fall in love with yourself and fall in love with the beautiful journey of healing.
Oh, wow. Yes, 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 yes. Love it, love it, love it. Well, Abby and Taylor, thank you so much for joining me on my show today. And I just cannot wait to see what you sisters have in store in the future. I mean, I already have it. I already know.
Oh,
No,
Thank you.
but like to
Thank
see it
you so much.
unfold is going to be a beautiful for everybody. So thank you so much.
Thank you so
thank
much. This is
you.
amazing.
Thank you.